Okay, imagine this for a second. What if an anti-corruption agency didn't just go after the bad guys, but actually empowered the next generation to become its greatest defenders? Well, that's the wild, revolutionary idea we're diving into today. We're looking at a brand new watchdog in the Philippines and a plan to give it a grassroots army. So let's just get right to the heart of it. A new agency pops up, and it has all this power to investigate massive corruption in infrastructure. But here's the billion-dollar question, right? Can it actually stop it? To figure that out, we're going to break this down into 5 parts. First, we'll meet this new watchdog. Then we'll find its, let's call it a fatal flaw. We'll see this huge gap between the halls of power and the folks on the ground. And then, this is the cool part, we'll explore a game-changing solution to connect them and a really radical idea about making the fight against corruption a kind of sacred duty. All right, first up, let's meet the main character in our story today, the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, or the ICI for short. So what is the ICI? Well, think of it as a special detective squad. Its one and only job is to investigate corruption in the Philippines' infrastructure projects. They're not out there paving roads, they're hunting for ghost projects. You know, the roads, bridges, and flood controls that get paid for but never actually get built. And you know, on paper, the IICI is an absolute powerhouse. It can issue subpoenas, hold hearings, freeze assets, and even recommend criminal charges. It's got the power to put people in witness protection. I mean, it is armed to the teeth with legal weapons. But, and this is a huge but, here's the twist. For all its impressive power, the ICI is critically flawed. Let's pull back the curtain on the major weakness in its design. Yeah, this is where you start to see the cracks. The whole agency is described as a double-edged sword. One edge is razor sharp for digging up dirt, but the other one, it's completely dull when it comes time to actually do something about it. And here is the problem in a nutshell. The ICI is fantastic at finding corruption. It can shine a light on those ghost projects that only exist in spreadsheets. But, and here's the catch, it can't prosecute anyone. It has to hand over all its findings to other agencies to take action, which, yeah, that raises some serious questions about its real independence. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Powerful in investigation, weak in enforcement. It's like a detective who solves the whole crime, finds the murder weapon, gets a confession, and then has to politely ask the killer's cousin to please make the arrest. It just doesn't work. And this fundamental weakness creates this huge disconnect. So let's step away from the fancy Manila boardrooms for a minute and head down to the local communities, the barangays, to see what this actually looks like on the ground. You see, the ICI is way up here, operating at this high altitude of legal filings and bureaucratic reports. But for the people who are actually living with the results of corruption, you know, the flooded homes, the roads that are falling apart, all that high-level stuff just feels like a symbolic gesture. It's just noise. This chart just lays it out perfectly. There are 2 completely different realities. In the Manila boardroom, you've got subpoenas and reports. But down in the barangay hall, people are literally living with floods from a broken dike. They see the overpriced, half-finished projects every single day. For them, corruption isn't an abstract concept. It's a lived, daily reality. So the big question is, how do you fix this? How do you possibly bridge that gap? Well, that's what this next section is all about. It's a pretty radical proposal to build a grassroots bridge, one that connects top-down power with bottom-up action. And this brings us to a really revolutionary idea: youth watchdog brigades. The proposal is to train young people, apprentices, to be the eyes and the ears for the ICI right there in their own communities. The goal is to turn civic duty from, some boring thing you have to do into a powerful, meaningful rite of passage. And listen, this is way more than just a nice idea. It's a whole blueprint. Step 1, set up safe ways for people to actually report corruption. Step 2, form and train these youth brigades. Step 3, create a direct pipeline so their evidence gets straight to the ICI. To make it all stick, you need trusted partners in the community. You celebrate the milestones with ceremony. And the final step, you take this model and you scale it up nationwide. Okay, now we get to the most powerful and maybe the most unusual part of this entire proposal: the idea of turning accountability into a kind of sacred ritual. This isn't just about a job, it's about a journey. The whole process is kind of gamified, with a clear path to level up. You start as an observer, just learning the ropes. Once you file your first real report, you become a documenter. And if you really prove yourself, you can become a defender, a leader, a mentor. Each step up comes with a new symbol and a new level of responsibility. And this is where it stops being a task and starts becoming a true calling. The journey starts with the observer's oath. Just listen to this. I pledge to watch with integrity, to see what others ignore, and to honor the covenant of stewardship. It's not just about looking, it's about bearing witness. And from there, the stakes get even higher. The documenter's oath demands more. I pledge to document with courage, to record faithfully, and to inscribe the legacy of accountability. This is about actually creating a historical record, something that lasts. And then at the highest level, the defenders become the guardians of the whole system. They take this solemn vow. I pledge to defend the stewards, to mentor apprentices, and to protect the covenant of sacred stewardship. I mean, at this point, you're not just a volunteer, you're building a movement. So here's the real magic of this whole idea. It pulls accountability out of some dusty government office and puts it right into the hands of the people. It transforms it from a boring bureaucratic process into a tangible, honored, sacred trust. All right, so let's just quickly pull all of this together. We've got the ICI, a powerful investigator that's missing its enforcement teeth. We saw how it's totally disconnected from the very communities it's supposed to serve. The proposed solution, this grassroots bridge built by youth watchdogs, and the secret sauce, turning that duty into an inspiring, sacred ritual. And that leaves us with this really powerful, maybe even revolutionary question. What if the future of accountability isn't just about more laws or bigger agencies? What if it's about tapping into something way deeper, our shared sense of sacred duty? Could that be the key, not just for the Philippines, but for all of us?